Greetings, Rabbi Boxed back with my Parashat HaShavua, my Torah portion of the week, or I should say the Torah portion of the week, my comments on it. This is Parashat Ki Tavo from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 26, 1 through 29, 8. And the outline is as follows. The first section is ceremonies for first fruits and tithes. The second section is conclusion to the laws, obligations for Israel and God. 3, ceremonies upon entering the land. An erection of inscribed stones and a stone altar at Mount Ebal, a call to obey the covenant at Moab, and a proclamation of blessings and curses at Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal. The fourth section, consequences of obeying or disobeying the covenant, the blessings and the curses. 5, concluding statement to the covenant, and 6 is the commencement of Moses' last speech. Remember, the book of Deuteronomy is a number of speeches that Moses is giving to the Israelites standing on the precipice of the promised land, as he is telling to the Israelite nation everything that happened from when they left, when they were freed from slavery in Egypt. And I think partially he was doing this because he wanted to, he may have been hoping that God would change God's mind and allow Moses to go into the promised land, even though, of course, that didn't happen. So let's talk about the ceremonies upon entering the land. The laws in Deuteronomy chapter 27, verses 12 through 26, are framed by ceremonies that are to be performed once the people cross over into the promised land. I'm reading from the commentary of the women's commentary on the Torah. Deuteronomy links the entrance into the land with obedience to the laws and repeatedly emphasizes that Israelites' success and survival in the land depend on their adherence to these laws. And so, of course, what happens? The Israelites, for a while, follow the laws and commandments, and then they don't. And then they get exiled, and then God gets angry, and then God eventually allows them to come back in. God is aware if God has the ability to be aware, because remember, awareness is a human quality. But God is aware that the Israelites are going to make mistakes, that the Israelites are going to screw up and not follow the commandments. But eventually God is going to return to the people and bring them back into the land, into God's good graces. And that's just going to continue throughout history moving forward. And so let's talk about the consequences of obeying or disobeying the covenant. Obviously, if the covenant is followed and the laws are followed, goodness will happen. The Israelites will live in the land, and they will have good fortune, and they will have good produce, good agricultural success, and everything will be fine, and God will, of course, not allow anyone to take over the people or take over the land. But of course, when the Israelites, not if, but when the Israelites go against the commandments and decide not to follow the commandments, then they are going to be exiled. They are going to be defeated by their neighbors that are enemies, because God makes it very clear what the responsibilities are. Follow the commandments, follow the covenant. And so these blessings and curses, literally as the Israelites are walking into the land, you've got half of the people, you have a group of people on the top of Mount Ebal and on the top of Mount Gerizim, and curses are being yelled at, and blessings are being yelled at. So the Israelites literally are walking into the land, hearing these curses and blessings, and being reminded of their responsibilities. And this is a pretty big scene, a pretty dramatic scene, if you will. And so the Torah portion ends, and this is the last, the last 8 verses of this chapter, of this parsha, chapter 29. Moses summoned all Israel and said to them, "You have seen all that Adonai did before your very eyes in the land of Egypt, to Pharaoh and to all his courtiers and to his whole country. the wondrous feats that you saw with your own eyes, those prodigious signs and marvels. Yet to this day Adonai has not given you a mind to understand, or eyes to see, or ears to hear. I led you through the wilderness 40 years. The clothes on your back did not wear out, nor did the sandals on your feet. You had no bread to eat and no wine or other intoxicant to drink, that you might know that I, Adonai, am your God. When you reach this place, King Sihon of Heshbon and King Og of Bashan came out to engage us in battle, but we defeated them. We took their land and gave it to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh as their heritage. Therefore, observe faithfully all the terms of this covenant, that you may succeed in all that you undertake. I wish you an early Shabbat Shalom, and I'll see you next time.